People are being accused of bullying for using normal words such as mother and father, sister and brother, boy and girl. People are being sacked from their jobs for saying normal, reasonable, ordinary things that would not have raised an eyebrow several decades ago. People are being pursued across social media by screaming, screeching mobs. People are finding their workplaces plastered with pamphlets accusing them of all manner of deranged crimes, transphobia, homophobia, racism, and whatever other mindless rubbish they can come up with. But why is this? Why are so many of these deranged activists, university professors, school teachers, media figures, and politicians so utterly deranged? Why have they so completely lost their reason? Why are they so completely unable to have normal, well-balanced conversations? Why are they so completely unable to grasp simple facts? The entire field of medical science knows that there are differences between men and women. It is not transphobic, misogynist, bigoted, prejudiced, or anything else to say so. Every single hospital in the world, every single doctor in the world must deal with the reality that there are differences between men and women. This is simple common sense. So why have so many media figures, so many people in the education system, and so many people in politics right across the Western world so utterly lost their minds, so utterly lost their reason? Why are they so completely and utterly unable to grasp simple facts, simple logic, and old-fashioned common sense? What is happening with these deranged activists is they have been brainwashed over a long period of time. What this means is they become triggered. They stop thinking logically and they go into fight or flight mode. This is mass hysteria. All of human history has been full of outbreaks of mass hysteria. It has happened many times in the 20th century alone. There have been many outbreaks of mass hysteria in history, and there will be many more in the future. These activists are gripped by mass hysteria, and only great patience, great calmness, and logic and reason will win them back to reality. I've explained where activists come from and how they were created in my video Decline and Fall of the Western World, Part 1. So you can see what created these deranged activists there. To understand brainwashing, we must understand that we have two primary systems we use in our brains. Most of the time, we are using our very powerful frontal lobes. These are the most developed parts of the brain. They have taken tens of millions of years to develop. Our powerful frontal lobes use an enormous amount of energy, an enormous amount of glucose and oxygen. Most of the time, we are experiencing the world with our full mind. In times of extreme danger, our very powerful frontal lobes switch off, and almost all of the energy that would normally go to our brain is diverted to our muscles to save our lives. When the very powerful frontal lobes switch off, a very primitive system called the limbic system is engaged. It is extremely basic. The limbic system has one purpose only: to keep us alive in times of extreme danger. In order to understand the difference between our very powerful frontal lobes and our very primitive limbic system, imagine yourself jogging through a forest. Normally, you can see a great deal of detail and you can hear the full spectrum of sound from the forest. You can see the detail on the tree trunks, you can see individual leaves, you can see individual birds and insects. If, however, you are running for your life, your powerful frontal lobes switch off, almost all of that energy is diverted to your muscles, and your very primitive limbic system is used. In order to save as much energy as possible, your vision tunnels in, so that everything on either side of you is a blur. If you are running through the forest, all of those tree trunks simply become a blur. All you see are shapes that you need to avoid. Likewise, your hearing zones in. That roaring sound in your ears, it's most of your auditory system shutting down, So the only sounds you hear are the things that are necessary for your survival. By limiting your hearing to a very narrow range of frequencies, and by limiting your vision so that you have tunnel vision, all of this energy can be redirected to your muscles for survival. This is called fight or flight mode. When we speak to these activists, they go into fight or flight mode. Their powerful frontal lobes switch off and only their limbic system is working. And this is what happens when somebody commits a murder in a frenzy. When somebody says, "I wasn't thinking at the time." When somebody says, "A red mist of rage descended upon me. I had no idea what I was doing." Their powerful frontal lobes have switched off and their very primitive limbic system is in charge. So they are unable to reason. They are unable to think logically. They merely see you as an enemy who must be crushed. The only way to reason with these deranged activists is to understand that they are stuck in fight or flight mode, and we must get them back into a very calm, very relaxed state where their frontal lobes are working. We cannot reason with them while their limbic system controls them. We can only reason with them once we get their frontal lobes working again. They are deranged because they are out of their minds. And the only way to get them to see sense is to get them back into their minds. So we must be very soothing. We cannot reason with them until we get them back into a very calm state of mind. So please, don't try to reason with them when they are screeching and screaming. Just calmly wait for them to calm down. Only when they are calm will they be reasonable. When they are screaming and screeching, you cannot reason with them no matter how hard you try. They have been brainwashed. It is our job to unbrainwash them and to get them to see reason and old-fashioned common sense. Think of how many deranged activists there are in the world. Think of how powerful they all are together. And ask yourself this: what will the world be like once we have turned them from being a force for evil to being a force for good? Once we get all of those deranged activists out of fight or flight mode and back into thinking logically and reasonably, then the immense power they have can be used as a force for good. The people who are now destroying the world because they are out of their minds, when we turn them back to the side of good, they will be the very same people who will help save the world. They've lost their minds, so it's up to us to help them find them again. And the only thing that has ever worked in all human history is logic and reason. Only then can they stop being the deranged zombies they are and rejoin the human race. Let's see if we can't get these deranged zombies back into their minds so we can welcome them back to the human race. Let's get to it, eh? Cheerio.